So I was trying to think about what to put together for you guys. I was like, what's the purpose of the event? Who's coming? What topics are we going to cover? What are we not going to cover? What holes could I fill in that's going to be valuable to you guys? I was talking to a man about it too. I was like, I don't know. I don't really know what the most valuable thing to do would be that you guys need right now. And then I was like, I don't think many of you guys really know like my story. I think you brought up the idea. And at first I'm just like, I don't really like to talk about myself. Like it's kind of cringy. I don't want to do that unless I'm intentional with it and there's something to take away that is of value to you guys. So I figured, how about we just talk about 7 of the most painful lessons I had to learn so that you don't have to. Because at the end of the day, oh no, is it broken?
Down? Did you press down?
Yeah, I did.
Did you turn it on?
I got it.
Oh,
It's on.
Okay.
Thanks. Huh. Who would have known?
Was that number 1? Lesson number 1?
Yeah, lesson number 1, turn shit on. Yeah, so a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. I would not be anywhere close to where I'm at right now if it wasn't for my dad, and you're going to hear a recurring theme throughout this whole presentation. Because I was able to watch him kind of on the sidelines when I was growing up and see all the shit that he went through, the hell that he went through between the military, building multiple businesses, making fucking multiple 9 figures at this point, and watching everything. So I learned what to do, but probably even more importantly, what not to do. What kind of business decisions to get into, how to control your own emotions, what kind of relationships to avoid, how to, develop your own emotional intelligence, which I think is probably one of the biggest skill sets you can develop. So let's talk about this, shall we? So when I was younger, my parents were terrified for me. Like when I was in middle school, high school, back in Ohio, Canton, Akron, dude, I graduated high school with like a 1.8 GPA, I think is what it was. And my dad was like, dude, my sister was the one that got good grades. She got straight A's, super good GPA. She was like, I was the problem child, right? I mean, I was in band, and that was the only thing I cared about when I was in high school. So,
what'd you play?
Drums. So I was the cool kid. I was the cool one of the band. I was in the drum line. So when I graduated high school, my dad gave me 3 options. He was like, listen, dude, you're either going to go on a mission for church, okay? You're going to go to college, or you're going to join the military. So naturally, I did none of those things. I grew up working with vets my whole life, obviously, because I worked with Black Rifle, which I'll talk about in a sec. And growing up working with his business, I took a year off. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm just going to work in your business and work in the front desk and do sales. And I made $2,000 a month, and to me, that was ridiculous. Like, $2,000 a month, that's crazy, bro. I can ball out, especially in Vegas. So yeah, picked up, graduated from Ohio, got my diploma. The next day, we moved out to Las Vegas, and I just started working for him. And he was like, if you come out here, you take a year off, you got to decide what you're going to do a year later, but you can take a year if you want, but you're going to be intentional with your time. Like, I'm going to put you through the ringer. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to do a lot of shit that you're not qualified for, but you're going to figure out how to qualify yourself to do it. So I went out, worked for him. I also worked as a role player for his contracting company. So they'll put together different training situations for, special ops units for the deployed. So I'll go out, he give me an AK when I was like 16 with blanks and just go try to fuck up some SEALs, but I was the one that got fucked up. So I did that a lot. That was a lot of fun. I remember working at my dad's company in Vegas. It was Apocalypse Vegas is what it was called. It was this big entertainment company. And I remember working for them in 2018. I was like 2 years into working. I went to UNLV, dropped out after a year, hated college. And around this same time, I saw this job posting on Full-Time Filmmaker from this dude, Jared Taylor, who was like, he posted this photo of like this little bird with an explosion in the background. There was a car drifting underneath it, and the little bird was shooting like a machine gun. And that was the photo. It's like, what a hook, right? He's like, we're looking for a videographer. And I remember looking at my buddy. I was like at the sales desk, and I was this 2018. How old was I at that point? 20, freshly 20. And I looked at my buddy, and I was like, bro, that'd be so cool. It'd be so cool if I could do that. And he looked at me, and he's like, okay, then go fucking do it. Good? Everything good? Oh, did the light turn off? Oh, there you go. So he's like, go do it then. Like, apply. And I was like, I can't. I'm not going to do that. There's like 1,000 comments. There have to be tons of applications. I just want to stay here where it's nice and comfy. So I did it anyway. I applied, and sure enough, out of like 500 applicants. They told me to come out. And they're like, hey, you're going to be on a probationary period for 3 months. You're going to live on this ranch. It was like 3,000 acres in the middle of nowhere. There were cattle all over the place. It was me and my dog. We packed up in my little Hyundai Elantra. We drove out to San Antonio, and I stayed at this ranch for 3 months alone. I didn't know anybody. That was the most uncomfortable position I've ever been in, and I was in a massively depressive state. Like I was never suicidal. I never got to that point, but I was completely alone. Like I left the nest, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, this sounds like a cool job. I'll figure out how to do it. So 3 months probationary period put me in this ranch, free rent, which was nice. It was a cool spot. It was way out in the middle of nowhere though. This is the beginning of my journey to learn about video and marketing. And it was really cool because being there, those guys operate at such a high level. Like they went public a couple years ago. It's like a $1.2 billion IPO. It was ridiculous. They're a massive company, fastest growing coffee company brand in the world. And so watching how they call it the war room, their marketing team, watching how their war room operates and watching how their content, so I was the lead videographer, I would lead like the productions, and watching how everybody operated there, I was like, I suck. Like this is crazy. So I learned a ton while I was there. And then I got a job opportunity to work as this media director for a barbecue pellet company in Sacramento because they knew I worked at Black Rifle. So they're like, how much are they paying you? And I told them, they're like, okay, we'll pay you a lot more. And we'll buy you a red, and we'll buy $50,000 in additional equipment, whatever you want, just tell us. So I was like, I want a red, right? I was like, Red Dragon, fucking $10,000 in lighting equipment. I was like, give me all this stuff. I wasted so much of their money, bro. It was so bad because they did not need that at all. So I basically just made a mess. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I think most people that don't know what they want to do try to play it safe and they don't really do much of anything. So they kind of just sit back. Maybe they go to college because that's what they're told to do, right? Well, because I should do this, so I'm gonna maybe try that. And I wouldn't be anywhere close here if I didn't take these opportunities. So lesson one, when you're first starting out, probably not super applicable to most of you guys, but when you're first starting out, say yes to every opportunity that makes your stomach churn with uncomfortability. Like applying there for Black Rifle, when I didn't think anything was gonna come from it. When they told me you're accepted, come out, and we need, oh, by the way, they're like, come out, you need to be out here in 3 days. Pack up your entire car and get out here. And we're gonna throw you in the middle of a shoot. Dude, I was petrified. Like this 20-year-old kid, I was like, bro, yeah, I packed my whole life up in a car. And I just took off with my dog in the backseat. But at the end of the day, I got to a place where whenever I'm presented with an opportunity, it's like 5 seconds. Either this is going to massively grow who I am as an individual, or it's a waste of time. And if it's the first part, I don't even think about it. We just do it. Yep, I'll do it. Right? And I did that the first stages of my business, saying yes to all these opportunities when I was not qualified. I had no idea if I could actually do it, but I would figure it out. Okay? So yeah, make a mess, do as much as you can, build your skill sets and experience. Once you identify what it is you need to do, or your purpose, however you want to call it, once you get clarity, which most of you guys have clarity now, right? There's probably a little bit of still imposter syndrome, lack of clarity on what exactly you want to do, but you know your skill sets, you know what you're good at, so now we're focusing on building that, okay? Once you identify that, then you can identify what to start saying no to. But before we know what we're going to say no to, I'm saying yes to everything, right? Understand the gap between trying new things to gain experience and build skill sets, and when it's just shiny object syndrome, okay? Is this actually going to get me closer to my goals? Every single thing you do, make sure you're able to ask that question, okay? How many of you know what your goal, purpose, why, whatever, what it is you want? Like how many of you are like, this is what I want, I know exactly how to get there? Oh, okay.
Are you talking about a lifelong goal? Yeah.
I mean, lifelong goal within the next at least year. Like something, you have some sort of a trajectory of where we're going and what we're trying to build.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because yeah, don't get that confused. I don't want to say like, say yes to everything. It's like, no. In the beginning, yes, because you know nothing. You have no worth, you have no skills, you have no experience. So you have to build that. And the only way you do that is by trying out, testing, and tasting a bunch of new things to figure out what it is you ultimately want to do. So 2021, COVID hit. I was let go of my job as a media director, my cool, cushy job where I was making a bunch of money. I had a red, didn't have it anymore because it was theirs, so I had to leave. Picked up, moved to Vegas first. When I moved to Vegas, my dad's company went under. By the way, this company was over 6 figures a month just in overhead costs, just to sustain. Once they shut it down, like he was like, I can't sustain 6 months of overhead just in like rent for the warehouse and all this shit. So liquidated everything, shut it all down, let 40 of his employees go. And so him and I looked at each other, obviously much more of a loss than me. I lost my job and I got an unemployment, which is nice. I'll take money from the government, any opportunity I can. So we were back to Vegas, 1 month in, shut everything down. And he's like, well, I've got nothing in Vegas anymore. I just have the contracting company. I don't want to stay here. And I was like, I fucking don't want to stay here. I hate Vegas. Sorry. I hate it, dude. I was like, I don't want to be here. So he's like, I'm going to go to Boise. You want to come? And I was like, absolutely. Love Boise. Because we'd come up here and visit all the time. So picked up, moved to Boise, started over. When I moved to Boise 4 years ago, I started my marketing agency. I filed the LLC. All I had was a shell of an LLC in a dream. I filed it. As soon as it was filed, I was like, what the fuck do I do now? I had no idea. So I started meeting people. Marlon was one of the first dudes that I met. I just started reaching out. I was like, I want to meet you. You seem cool. I just needed to meet people and try to convince somebody to buy a video from me, because that's all I knew how to do. I knew nothing about direct response, nothing about ads, nothing about anything at all. Hey guys, do you mind, Josh? You guys, do you mind? Sorry, I just want to make sure that there's full focus here. So this is me at 4 a.m., December 30th, 2020. My unemployment ran out. I was $50 overdrawn on my checking account. Bills are coming up, and I had 0 clients. Nobody knew me. And I don't like saying this because I'm like, oh, woe is me. Like, dude, there's so many other people that have gone through so many worse things than myself. But similar to what Adam was saying at the fireside, he kind of said a similar thing. This was rock bottom for me. Everybody's rock bottom is relative to the individual. And I don't think it's fair to take that from anybody. Like, your rock bottom is like your rock bottom relative to what you've experienced. So for me, this was it. I had nothing. It was 4 a.m. I was up in the morning. I was like, I've got to figure something out. Dude, nobody even knew my name. So I set a goal to myself to meet 2 new people every day. Like, I put it in my calendar. It was like a daily non-negotiable. I got to meet 2 new people today. So if I looked at my calendar and I had no networking events or I had no opportunity, I would literally go to a coffee shop, look to see if somebody looked interesting, and I would walk up to them and be like, hey, dude, this is going to sound kind of weird. I'm new here. I'm trying to meet cool people. You look interesting. What do you do? And then we'd start talking. And it was really uncomfortable. It's also why I did it, because I knew it was uncomfortable and I knew it would develop my skill sets with people. And at the end of the day, I was like, surely, if I just met 2 new people every day, surely someone would know someone that needed videos and I could just get that one client that could pay my bills. That's all I need. I just need one client to pay my bills. It's not that hard. So every day I went out, had to make sure I checked it off with my to-do list. I remember going to BNI and other networking events, and because I hated them so much, it felt like they lacked substance, I started my own group. So we hosted our first event with speakers. I literally was just like, I tried to find the most impressive people I could. I was like, let's put together an event. We went to this big venue, and I was like, I'll give you content in return. Give us a deal. Let me rent it out. I want to network on Facebook. Like, I thought networking was what I had to do at the time. So we did it. And then I started the legacy group with a friend of mine, where there's the 4 of us right there. Dude, it was so embarrassing. At the time, I thought it was so sick. I was like, yeah, none of us knew what the fuck we were doing. And doing this and going to networking events, I had 3 hot leads on the line. Like 4 months into it, somehow 3 people were like, okay, we might want to work with you. What's up?
4 months in to a place that you've never been to, you started a group.
Yeah.
Okay, just so
That's a lesson.
Yeah, that's
Did you have like a part-time job to have money?
Nope.
What
So 4 months in, that's including, I was on unemployment like 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So like I had money coming in and I saved a little bit of it. So I had 3 hot leads on the line. Now, okay, sub lesson 1B, don't network. Just run ads, okay. It's a waste of time. Speaking of, you wanna see my first ad?
Yeah. Yes.
A well-produced and strategically distributed video asset is one of the most valuable resources available to people wanting to grow their brand and establish strong relationships with their clients. It allows you to effectively separate your brand and take the viewer on an audible and visual journey that simply isn't possible with any other medium. You're able to tap into their emotion and show your customer what it's like to work and build a relationship with you, how working with you and your specific brand will positively impact their life. Now, Rich K Films is not the type of company to just show up, hit record, and make a video, What we care about is learning more about your brand, what makes you different, why you do what you do, so that way we can effectively develop the best video strategy to grow your business and dominate your market. I've had the pleasure of working with several verified social media influencers. One of America's largest coffee company brands helped bring Apocalypse Vegas to the 3rd top-ranked attraction on TripAdvisor in the entertainment capital of the world, and most recently helped this brand crush their competition. Guys, I'm super excited to chat with you. Click the button below to schedule your free strategy call so that we can begin.
Yeah, and then there's my call to action, right?
That was really good.
Guess how many leads I got? Guess how many leads I got? I spent $200 on it. Dude, that was so much money for me. Guess how many leads I got?
0.
Fucking 2 leads, bro. I got 2. All right? So it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Guess how many I closed? None of them. I didn't close any of them, dude. No, not at all. No. So I did that, and then guess what I thought? At the end, when I spent 200, neither of them picked up the phone. I said, ads suck and they don't work.
I've literally out loud said the exact same thing.
Yeah, yep. I remember having a discovery meeting with all 3 of those leads that I was able to get on the line: dentist, chiropractor, and a roofing company. I'm getting like anxious just thinking about it, being in that position again where I was like, dude, if I just have to get one of them so I can pay rent. Like, all 3 of them were super excited to work with me. I had a discovery session with all of them. All 3 sales calls were scheduled for the following week. I remember being on the phone with my dad almost in tears because the whole time he's there supporting me. He's like, keep going, you got it, supporting me. I was like, Dad, I'm so close. Like, if I can just get one of them to close on a retainer, just one, I can pay my bills. At the same time, I was applying for a waiter position at 5 different restaurants so I could at least have a backup plan to make money and survive in case I couldn't close anything soon. I didn't have an option. I had to make money, okay? This is it. All this hard work, traveling between different states and jobs, spending $5K on courses and doing a ton of free work to try and prove myself was finally about to start paying off. You feel the buildup, right? You feel what's coming. Next week comes by. I had all my sales meetings. Guess how many of those 3 that I closed?
None.
I didn't put it on here, but yeah, none of them. At the same time, all the restaurants I applied for, which mind you, I had a great resume. I was dressed sharp. I walked into every single one of them and I was like, where's the manager? Where's the owner? I want to shake their hand and give them my resume. And make a good first impression, right? All of them said I lacked experience and I couldn't work there. So I was back to square one. Yeah, that's what I said too. I was like, as a waiter?
You can't.
I was surprised, dude.
I was a waiter.
They saw your GPA.
Just jump into it.
They saw my GPA and they're like, yeah, I don't know if he wants you to be here. So, yeah, they also said I lacked experience, back to square one. I remember texting my dad that night because he's my best friend. Most of you guys know that. My morale was completely depleted. I was weak, vulnerable, and I was completely lost. Like, that was my bottoming out. Because every day I woke up with just tears in that 4 a.m. photo, tears in my eyes, waking up, and I'm like so scared. I was like, I don't know why anyone would want to buy from me. I don't know how to do this. I spent money on courses, wasted a bunch in there because I was like, surely somebody else knows. And anyway, so I asked him for a loan to at least get me by for another month. I was just, give me one more month, I'll figure it out. And he responded with tears in his eyes, and he said, I can't do that. Knowing you would have a safety net will only hurt you more. You have to figure this one out on your own. Later that night, he sent me this text. He said, hey, buddy, so you're probably feeling a little deflated and professionally insecure right now. Nope, you shouldn't be. Although this feeling and disposition that you have will prevent that complacency that we discussed, know that you're right where you need to be. This is the place where self-doubt creeps in on those that won't, don't, and can't make it, while the few others, such as yourself, will analyze, learn, adjust, and continually re-engage. This moment, this place right here is where your initial answers will be found and your immediate growth will be accompanied by tomorrow morning's sun. You have nothing to worry about. I'll be right here. Granted, I won't save you, but you won't and don't need to be saved, but I will help you. If you absolutely need funding, I'm here. But you know that you'll have to be in a rough place before I'll step in, because unfortunately, if I do have to step in, it'll rob you of learning and growth opportunities, and it will indeed weaken you. On that note, there's nothing financially bad that could possibly happen in the next 5 weeks that will affect you in 5 years, or heck, even in 5 months. You're not even close to being in a dire place. You're in fact doing everything right though. Just keep going, keep analyzing, keep asking questions, keep grinding. You're too intelligent with too much to offer. God has plans for you, believe it. So you see what I mean, right? So lesson 2, nobody's coming to save you and no one's going to do it for you.
That was beautiful. Yeah. That was probably one of the most amazing messages I've ever seen from a father in my entire life.
I love that quote.
I have it saved and I look back on it a lot. Yeah, no one's coming to save you. So finally, I was able to land a deal. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I got 2 options in front of me. I can either be a fucking victim or I go make it happen. So I got back up and I just went back to doing the same thing I was doing before. Somehow, I was able to get a real estate agent client. She reached out to me on Instagram. I was like, how did you find me? She's like, I know my ways. I was like, that's kind of weird. Anyway, hopped on a call. $3K a month. Dude, when I closed that deal and I collected payment, I was like, I'm rich. like, dude, this is crazy. It was, yeah. yeah, it was her. Yeah, she was my first client, my first real client. Then all of a sudden I started having more leads come through word of mouth since I was providing excellent work for this client. Like I closed her and I was like, I can pay bills. I'm just gonna focus on her so I can provide the best results I can. Unfortunately, I wasn't that good. I tried so many different things. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It wasn't a waste. Like we made great content, but it could have been better. Knowing what I know now, I could have provided much better results. That's just how it goes with your first client. So I started closing more deals left and right and ended up clearing a little over 5K a month for about 4 months. This, little over 5K a month. Yeah, about 4 months in a row, I was making a little over 5K a month. This is a lot of money for me at the time, and I started to get arrogant. I started thinking I was the shit, right? I became stagnant in my growth, and I wasn't learning anymore. It's like leads keep coming in. They want to work with me. I'm going to close them. I'm good. I don't need anything else. I came to the realization that there was something I wasn't getting, even though I felt on top of the world. So I got to a point where I was stagnant for long enough that I was like, okay, is this really where I want to be? I wish you knew the person I was 4 years ago. You'd probably make fun of me if you met me. I was like kind of a shithead in a way that you might be able to consider endearing now, but I still cringe a lot when I think back on it. I was arrogant. I thought I was better than other people, acting above girls who were out of my league, and it was completely unwarranted. At the end of the day, I was just a normal 21-year-old dude. I was insecure, feeling like I had no one to talk to, and a ton of non-existent expectations to live up to. I tossed that stuff to the back of my head and just pretended it was all great. I wasn't making good money. I had no clue how to scale my offer and no backbone to admit I was doing things wrong and just ask for help. I was not the shit, mind you. I was way too awkward and embarrassed at that stage to pull the trigger and just confidently go. I remember all the excuses that I'd make in my head. My offer isn't specific enough to launch yet. What if I don't follow through and everyone sees me fail? I need to get better gear before I can find good clients. I'm not experienced enough to create valuable content for people. Right? Those self-limiting beliefs, the things that we tell ourselves in our head. Thinking back, I'd smack myself in the face if I could. Felt like an ocean of obstacles at the time, when in reality it was just a little puddle. It felt like it took so much confidence to be totally unafraid of posting online and creating valuable content for an audience. It ended up being one of the simplest things I could have done. Your biggest roadblock is yourself. It's as simple as acting in alignment with your future self. Because if your future self is making money, your future self definitely has the balls to make it happen. So lesson 3, kill your ego and destroy your pride. Complacency and incompetency will kill you. Learn from those that are where you want to be, okay? Like, I know you guys all look up to like me, Ocean. I have a ton of mentors and coaches. So does Ocean. If a coach is going to sell something, yet they are not investing a fuck ton of money into their own education, I would stay far away from that person. Act as if you have something to learn from everyone, but ensure you only listen to those that are where you want to be. Okay? Always go into conversations knowing and trusting there's always something I'm probably not getting, but at the same time, make sure that we always ask ourselves, okay, this dude's really giving me hard advice. Is he where I want to be? If he's not, I probably wouldn't listen to him. Be careful who you take advice from, because if it's unsolicited and or it's coming from someone that isn't where you want to be, yeah, again, don't listen to him. I remember talking to one of the guys in the program a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that everybody was recommending to him that he should go back to taking photos instead of building a video agency because he was making more money with that than he is now. Granted, he just started, like he just joined this thing. My response was, okay, well, who is everybody? And he told me his parents and his friends. I said, okay, how much money do they make? And then he was just like, only learn from those where you want to be, and then pay them to teach you the things you don't know. It's like a cheat code. It really is. Like, oh, you know something I don't. Here's my money. How'd you do it? Cool. Then you go execute. Money loves speed, okay? So don't try to act smarter than you are. Learn from those ahead of you. Decrease the amount of time it takes to achieve success, whatever that is for you. So most of my friends, up until this point, were not ambitious. When I first moved here, I met a lot of people. Marlon was also that person, okay? Like, he's not now, though. I can say that because he's not now. Dude, if you knew this guy like 3-4 years ago, you'd be like, what the like, you're not the same person. Bro, you weren't like overweight, but you were not like how you look now. You had zero ambition. You were in a bad relationship. I'm saying all these things now, too, because like, I was negative, losing money in the business that you had. What changed, by the way? What do you think played a big role in you like getting on the path you're on now?
A lot of it was more on me in the sense of it took me, even though she cheated on me back in 2020, and I still decided to stay in the business because I was like, if I was a bad boyfriend, let me at least be a good business partner. Honestly, it was paying some marketer $8,000 for him to generate us $200, so we lost $7,800. And just afterwards, just her basically just, I think it was when I sent you that. Remember the recording of?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So I finally had the guts to record our conversation, and I just sent this to Rich and said, please tell me I'm not great. And he heard it and heard everything that she was like off topic about the business. She started just bashing me as a human being, and then I was like, okay. And then he asked me this one question: how long has this been happening? And I said, since we broke up. He's like, why are you still with him? I'm like, I don't know. And then that was probably, it took $7,800 loss, plus like $40,000 of my own money, plus walking away from 40% of the inventory, which was about $40,000. And then for him to say, then why are you still there? To be like, even my highest paying client, I left a $10K a month client to focus on Saturday. That was agent. He was paying me $10K a month consistently, so I could focus on growing this thing, because I was in love with the potential versus the reality. And then once it finally faded away, I'm like, I gotta do this. And then immediately when I got out, I was like, I gotta make fucking money. And then within like a month of just reaching within my network, I went from 0 or negative, but 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 5 to 8. And then June was my biggest month that year to hit like 24K a month, but I got tired. But yeah.
Yeah. Good. Dang it.
This freaking Wi-Fi, dude. So annoying.
We'll make sure everybody's off, and then we'll see when it goes back on. Your environment completely dictates who you are. When I think about my life and when it started to finally kind of progress at an up curve, at the exact same time I started getting rid of people that added no value to me, and I started replacing them with people that give without expectation. They constantly fill that relationship jar, right? I'll just read this until it gets back up. So I know this sounds horrible. Oh wait, yeah. Okay, so when I first moved to Boise, first year-ish, I found myself trying to make friends, but subconsciously, this sounds horrible, subconsciously I found myself hanging out with people that I considered below me to make myself feel better about where I was, because I wasn't very far at all, right? And so that way when I would hang out with my friends and I'd hear about their problems, and I'd start giving advice to feel like, yeah, here's what you should do. Here's what I would do. Come on. There we go. Let's go. Come on. There she is. Okay. So yeah, I know this sounds horrible and super self-absorbed, but I wasn't aware of what I was doing. I was extremely uncomfortable. So I guess I figured that if I was able to find people less ambitious, I may be able to feel like I was a little less behind. This ended up being super counterproductive, and it was slowly, actually quickly killing me. I became complacent, like I was talking about before, and I had little urgency to develop myself and make more money. That's me, by the way. Yeah.
What song were you listening to?
At the time, I don't remember. Probably Taylor Swift. I wasn't being challenged by anybody in my life, other than my dad, but he was my dad, right? It wasn't until I started meeting interesting people that were making a hell of a lot more money than I was and significantly further ahead than me that I started to actually progress in business and life in general. Go figure. My environment was my bottleneck. How many of you guys feel like your environment could maybe be your bottleneck right now? And dude, saying to get rid of friends is much easier said than done. Saying to get rid of people that you spend a lot of time with, get rid of clients, much easier said than done. But you got to do it. So lesson 4, you are a culmination of who you spend most of your time with. And we'd always hear this, right? Like we always hear this from other people, motivational videos, blah, 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 etc. But it never really clicked for me until I completely shifted the people I was spending my time with. Like Marlon, remember the people, like you were kind of part of that. Like people we hung out with, like Annie, Sam, Bart, like that time frame, Yen. Nothing against them. I love them. I love those guys. I love those guys. But now look who we're with. Like now, and look at where we're at now is a direct parallel to the people that were around. And you don't realize it until you're able to reflect back after you make the changes and go, holy shit, I can't believe I allowed myself to go this far along hanging out with these people. Again, nothing against them at all. It's just not in alignment with where you're trying to go. Choose your friends wisely, okay? Most of my close friends are older than me and make a hell of a lot more than I do. So ask yourself these questions. Who are your best friends in life? And are they primarily the ones challenging you, or is it the other way around? She challenges me every day, and I love that, right? Relationships, exact same thing. You challenge the hell out of each other. I remember when I was pivoting my offer from a done-for-you video agency to a done-with-you consulting business for agencies, it was about a year ago, and I bought into a $9,000 program. I remember hopping on the call with him. It was Grayson. I remember hopping on the call with him. One call closed me. I gave him my card right away. And he told me, he was like, bro, actually I asked him later on, he was like, you were the easiest close. I was like, yeah, because I know what I want. You have good results. I trust you. I trust in myself. I know that if I pay you and you show me what to do, I'm going to make it happen. And then he had a mastermind that was hell of a lot more expensive about 6 months later, and it was only for his top performers. I think he had like 90 guys in there. It was me and 2 other dudes.
Oh, wow.
One of them was Julian Corzo, right? Because like I was like, yeah, dude, like if I know this is going to help me, fucking take my card. I'm going to make the money back, and this is what's going to allow me to actually progress. That's why whenever I do sales calls with everyone, all you guys that were like one call, take my card, you're going to go far. Because you don't hesitate. Your relationship with money is always flowing, always moving. I know that if I invest this and I apply myself, you're going to make it happen. During this program, I applied everything that I learned with speed and efficiency. I did not iterate yet, I imitated, okay? So also understand the gap between imitation and iteration. Most people don't get past the imitation phase. They'll jump into a program, this is what you did. You're like, just tell me what to do, I'm gonna do exactly what you did, right? Now you're iterating. Now you're developing. So I imitated and I basically copied this dude's program for the first 6 months. First 6 months, like for those of you guys that were in the first 6 months, I'm sorry, it was bad. It wasn't that great. Like people were getting results, but it was nowhere near where it's at now. And this dude plays a massive role in where we're at now. Honestly, like we wouldn't be anywhere close to where we're at if it wasn't for Ocean. So like that was another thing I learned too, is like finding the right people, bringing them in and trusting them to add value, wherever they see fit. So I did everything he told me to do. I was like, just tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. And I did it quickly. I didn't even want to switch to a coaching offer. I hopped on a call with him and he basically told me, he's like, dude, if you actually want to add value to people and you actually want to change lives, you actually want to make more money, like if you want to do all these things, I wouldn't even sell your video agency services to businesses. I would help other people that are where you used to be. And he changed my mind on the spot. And I was like, that makes sense. I could do that. And I gave him my card and I committed. I didn't look back. It was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. And now here we are, which is kind of crazy to think about. So I remember being kind of stuck a few months in and not knowing how to make more than 10K a month. Like I hit 10 pretty quickly, but then I was just kind of around there. I couldn't understand my metrics and I thought I was doing all the right things. I ended up going with into one of their masterminds and I was super nervous to meet these guys. It was a first in-person mastermind that he did in Scottsdale. And all these guys in their program, they all had really good personal brands. Content was awesome. They had really well built out systems and programs. These guys are all like in their mid-20s and crushing it, making a ton of money. I was bottom of the barrel at this point. This was like maybe 2 months into this program. So yeah, a bunch of dudes in their 20s. A lot of them were making upwards of 7 figures a year, 7-figure run rates. A lot of them were doing 50, 60K a month. And I felt so small. Like I was so uncomfortable going to this thing. I thought surely there were so many things that they had that I didn't. I just hope I have those things, whatever that thing is, to make this work so I could make money and change lives as well. I remember sitting in the room after the weekend was over, and as we're all sitting there around, we're discussing our biggest takeaways from that weekend, from the experience. And funny enough, we were all thinking the same thing. This is Max. He always looks like that. He looks petrified. It's hilarious. Or confused. So we're all hanging out. There's Grayson in the background. And we're all talking. We're all thinking the exact same thing. Max spoke up and he said, my biggest takeaway is none of you are fucking Einstein. Like, we're all just bold enough to try and then try again. That was the biggest thing we learned. We were there, and he said it was so funny. He said it, we all started laughing. We're like, yeah, it's true. Like, we're just a bunch of dudes. We're a bunch of idiots. Like, fuck, how are you making that much money? You know? We even said that. One guy's making like 60K a month. And I'm like, we're like, you? He's like, yeah. Like, yeah, I know. So here's what I took from this. The reason I wasn't scaling was because of my own limiting beliefs that I was not good enough. I was not worth 50K a month, 100K a month. Now, when we were at the hike, I love all of your guys' response to the prompt of what are you worth? What's your valuation? And a lot of you guys didn't tie a number to it, which I think is good. You know, it shows your relationship with money. It's healthy. I like it. But at the end of the day, money doesn't buy happiness. But it solves pretty much most problems, right? Like if you're having bad marital problems, you can afford to go to really good counseling if you apply yourself, right? Or if you, think of anything. Money will definitely help solve it, okay? I think we can all agree on that, right? Can't solve it, but it can help solve it. You have to put in the work. So at the end of the day, we have to have some sort of a tangible goal. You have to believe, because guess what? If you just say, I don't believe I'm worth a certain number, like my value is derived from the love that I give and the people that love me, I 100% agree with that. But at the same time, if you don't say it out loud, subconsciously, you think there's a number in your head that you think. So subconsciously, there's a number you all have in your head, even if you didn't say it out loud, right? Jared, you got a number in your head. I could probably make this much, but anymore, I don't think I'm worthy of that.
Sure.
What's that number?
50K.
That's pretty good. That's pretty dope. That's actually not bad. Dude, I was like 15. I could not fathom the idea of making more than 15K a month. I was like, I don't think I'm worth that. I had a ton of limiting beliefs, and a ton of people were feeding me, people that didn't matter, granted, wasn't close friends or anything, but there were people feeding me these thoughts of, are you really gonna do that? Like, you don't have enough experience. Maybe you just do this instead, right? So that played a big role into it. The reason I wasn't scaling was because of my own limiting beliefs. I was not good enough, that I'll never be as smart as these other guys. And after realizing that we're all just as lost as the next guy, I was unstoppable. I was like, oh, we all don't know what the fuck we're doing. All of us, right? Except maybe Ocean. I was my own bottleneck, okay? What do you think? No? Yes?
No, you said, we all know what we're doing. Like, I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, I still, I told Joey last night, I'm like, I'm scared. I said, before I launched my ads,
Yeah.
I sent a text to my wife. I was like, I'm nervous to run new ads to it. So I'm in the same boat. But despite my being scared of it, I do it anyways.
Everybody's scared.
It'll never go away. I'll never not be worried or concerned. Just act. Just take the action.
Yep. That's really it.
Yeah.
All of it, dude, I'm scared most days. One of the biggest things that messes with me a lot is always having this doubt in the back of my head of, am I doing as much as I possibly can for all you guys? 99% of people that are 1,000 steps ahead of you don't have something that you don't. They're just like you.
They have SOPs. I love traffic.
$17 million exit, didn't have SOPs. Okay, have SOPs, okay? Have them, they will help. But yeah, I think having that realization humanized everybody for me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, I can, I just have to do it, you know? They're not smarter than you. They've just allocated their time better, and they have stuck to one thing for a long enough time horizon to reap the rewards. That's it. They didn't try one thing for 2 months and go, this will probably work better. I'm going to try this instead. And then you work on this for 6 months and you're like, somebody else told me about something that sounds really fancy and shiny, so I think I'm going to do that. And then you go try doing that. And then people wonder why they don't get anywhere. And also allocating your time better. Most of you guys, I'm sure, are super busy, but 80% of the things that you're spending your time on, they're not doing anything for your business. Would anyone disagree with that?
You're very right.
Okay. Aiden? Yeah. Dude, I'm the most average dude you'll ever meet. I'm just like the white dude on the corner. Like, there's nothing special about me. My IQ's probably smaller than most of you guys. I just know the direction that I'm going, and I know how to surround myself with the right people. I know how to ask questions, and I just don't fucking quit. Pretty simple. Okay. So fast forward, I began building and building, stopped running the agency, and became tunnel visioned on helping other guys who are in the same position that I was. Who are you most qualified to help? The person you once were. Ed Milet. Yep. Because I remember what it was like to struggle to pay bills. I remember what it was like feeling lost and confused about what direction to take. I remember seeing the first big win in our community when I had like 4 people in our Slack channel. Brandon came in. I hopped on like super in-depth one-on-one calls with him. Shout out B-Link. Closed a 14.5K deal after implementing some of the strategies that I showed him. He just went, executed, and that was a really big defining moment of vision and purpose for me. Like my eyes I welled up with tears pretty quickly, knowing that I was able to help him secure this deal. Granted, he took the action. He did it. It wasn't me. I was able to help a little bit. He put in the action. He secured it. And by securing that deal, it's now going to have a trickle effect on his family, his livelihood, his confidence, and help him get closer to quitting his job. I knew this was my purpose, at least in this season of life. I could be totally 5 years from now, I'm probably doing something totally different. Right now, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I became obsessed with work, and it's all I thought about. And as a result of this, my family, friends, and personal health and well-being was put on the back burner. Red pill, that was me. I was the red pill guy. Fucking grind, work, make money, buy cool cars. I still like cool cars.
And other things.
And yeah, another thing. Around the same time, I found out my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 follicular lymphoma cancer. Like, how do you respond to that? The person that I was never able to humanize, that I thought was a machine, that was unstoppable. Nothing could kill this dude. I was like, bro, I could see him living to 200 years old, you know, like such good shape. Everyone looked up to him. All these people relied on him, made all this money. And he was the person I could go to that always had the answer for me. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, he's a human. And this just got real. And he could leave in a month, you know? So the man that I thought was invincible just became human to me. Life and death became tangible because it wasn't before. Dude, when we're young, we think we're invincible. I still think that way a lot. It's easy for me to, for all of us to get complacent. Maybe like take a day off and it doesn't really matter. I'll wake up tomorrow. Maybe. You know how many people don't wake up tomorrow? A lot. I started questioning everything. I was like, why am I working so hard right now? Who was I building for, and why does money even really matter? Like, I was making okay money. Like, I was comfortable, right? So what's the gap between comfortability and making more? What am I going to do with that money? And why is that so important for me? So after a rough 6-month battle, he was able to somehow completely eliminate it from his body. I remember he went in, FaceTimed the whole fam. I don't remember exactly how long ago this was. He FaceTimed the whole family, though. And he was like, he just got his scans, and the doctor was like, there's nothing here anymore. It's gone. And he was like, what do you mean? Because before, his body lit up like a Christmas tree. All gone. Those 6 months, he went through intense treatment. He went on a juice diet. He only drank juice. He didn't eat any food. Juice cleanse. Did everything all these doctors told him to do. Flew around. Like, they did everything. And it paid off. And throughout the process, we grew as a family. And I became more intentional and present with the people I care about. And we became resilient in the face of adversity. And then it came back. I remember he called me to his office because we work in the same office building, which is really cool. Like, it's awesome to just go to the office every day and know I can just like go hang out and talk to him. He's like, hey, let's play catch up. And as we sit down, he lets out a big sigh, while at the same time having a smile on his face. He's like, well, it's back. And I just sat there and I was like, what are you gonna do this time? And he looked at me and he said, without hesitation, what I always do, I'll figure it out. But this time, I gotta ensure that I learn the lesson that God needs me to learn so I can help others how he needs me to. Dude, that like, his response completely shifted the way that I think, and it made me reevaluate all my priorities, everything. Like, if you're dedicating a third of your life to building something and working and building a business, you better damn well know why you're doing it. Like, you better be convicted in why you're doing it. So lesson 6, become obsessed with what you do, but ensure that you know how to separate work from being present. When you are working, you are present and you are working. When I'm at the office and I'm taking calls, I'm in the call. And that's the only thing that exists for me right there. When I'm with you guys, I'm not the best at this. I'm trying to be the best I can. When I'm with you guys, I'm only here. Nothing else takes priority. You guys take priority, okay? When I'm with her, it's me and her, nobody else. And that's why I separate them. Like, I live religiously through my calendar now, and you guys all know this. My work times and my deep work times are slotted in, and those are the times that I work, and then 6 o'clock comes around, and it says, you're done working. And I shut my laptop off, and I'm present there. And funny enough, when I started doing that, instead of working 12 plus hour days, I started making a lot more money. Isn't that crazy? Why is that? I'm just kind of reading off. There's nothing really for you guys to see, so I'm just going to go off here. Don't lose sight of what truly matters in life. Be intentional and present with everything that you do. You think you're invincible. You have all the time in the world. You don't, okay? You have one life. Memento mori, right? Remember, you must die. Remember to live. And don't wait for someone you love to get cancer before you finally learn to stop and smell the roses. I used to think that was a bunch of woo-woo bullshit. I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I just want to make money. I'll be fine. And every day I wake up and I'm so thankful for the life that I have, for the people I'm able to help. And you guys should be doing the exact same thing. Aiden, bro, when you post in the community and you're just like, what's everyone thankful for? Shit lights me up. That's so cool. And like, I never did any of that before. Waking up with gratitude, starting the day off with a prayer, like, I didn't do any of that. And now that I do it, it's completely shifted my life. For the ability to help all of you as much as I can, the ability to have friends and family that love me, right? Yeah, like I said before, every day I put in my calendar, hard stop from work at 6 p.m. I'm done. Don't talk to me. Kidding, I love you guys. I'll talk to you if you need me, but Nolan FaceTimes me now at 6. I know you're not busy now. Until then, I'm present and I'm intentional with work. I'm focused and I'm dialed on my high-value tasks, and I don't allow myself to get distracted. When 6 o'clock hits, my laptop shuts down, my phone goes away, my time is dedicated to the ones that I love. Okay, if you guys can figure that out now, your life's gonna be a lot more fulfilling. Granted, there are seasons in life, and I do understand this. A lot of you are in grind mode, and I understand that. I was too, and I do believe that's necessary. But ensure you still maintain a healthy balance. Okay? Okay, here we go. Lesson 7, and then we'll be done. One of the most selfish and damaging things that you can do in your life is not living up to the potential that God intended for you. One of the most selfish things you can do. Potential is worth nothing. Potential has no value. Ideas, nothing. Doesn't matter until it is realized, okay? Ideas have no value until they're executed. It's not being the person that everyone in your life needs you to be. It's not being the man that your wife deserves, not making enough money to provide support for the ones that aren't fortunate enough to support yourselves. That's selfish. Most, you guys probably heard this before, this shit like keeps me up at night. Most men die at 25 but aren't buried till they're 75. Ensure you go to bed every night knowing that you left everything on the field and you had nothing left to give. So, okay, little visualization exercise real quick, all right? You guys all have your journals, you're writing stuff down, I love it. If you continue down the path you're on right now, there's a big difference between what you think you're doing, you think you're working hard, and then what you're actually doing. So be real with yourselves right now. If you continue down the path that you're on right now, who are you going to be in 5 years? I want you to visualize this. Explain who this person is. What does their day look like? How do they think? How do they operate? Who are you with? Are you married? Do you have a family? How often are you working? Where do you live? What do you care about? What do you prioritize?
Ask again the main question.
If you continue down the path you're on right now, the actions you take on a daily basis, the things you prioritize, the work you're doing, who are you going to be in 5 years? Who is that man? Who is that woman? What principles do they carry? What character traits do they have? What do they care about? Notice how I'm saying they, because it's not you yet. Who is that person? Mouth is so dry. For a lot of you guys, or not a lot, but for some of you guys, this should scare you a little bit. Okay, now think about the person you could be, the person you should be, the most realized and developed version of yourself. The person you would be if you left everything on the field every day. Every fucking day of your life, you leave everything on the field. You don't go to bed thinking, I could have done a little bit more. And that's not just about work. I gave everything that I could to the business today, and I moved the needle. I helped everyone that I possibly could have, and I gave all of my love to the people that I care about. If you refuse to be a victim to your circumstances and your environment, who is that? You woke up every day, and when you have that deep work on your calendar, you actually did it every day. You didn't skip it. You wake up in the morning and you're exhausted, but you still went to the gym. When you have a conflict with your spouse or your loved one, and you chose to listen, to understand, and own up to things that you can improve upon instead of being defensive. Who would that person be? Okay. You keep writing if you're still going. Dude, I love Ed Milet. This is something he talked about. And this concept I think about all the time. It kind of freaks me out, especially when you get really deep in visualizing it and you're like, it gives me chills every time. Okay, so when you finally arrive at your final destination, right? Like you're on your deathbed. You went through life. You did everything you could. Hopefully it's past 73, which is the average age that you live to. I think about now, when I get to the end, when I go to heaven, I'm going to meet that guy that I could have been. I'm going to meet, sorry, let me take it back. I'm going to meet the person that is the most idealized, realized, developed version of myself. The person and the man, woman, God intended for me to be. Okay, realize my fullest potential. Would they recognize you? Would they say, I knew you would do it? Great to meet you. Or would they say, who are you? Would you recognize them? Would they recognize you? Yeah, dude, that's something I think about a lot. Okay, so I've got some good news and I got some bad news and then we'll be done. You guys know what it is? The good news is who you become is entirely up to you. You know, the bad news is? Oh, look at that. There it is. There are the 7 lessons. Good? Any questions? I don't know if it's like a Q&A thing, but yeah, I hopefully it was valuable for you guys.
Did ChatGPT write that story?
This one, no. Everything else, yes. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. What do you guys think? Was it helpful, valuable?
So good.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It's like all quiet now. Everyone's just like, I'm going to let you guys do that.